I'm calling the regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City of Clawson to order. Could everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nick, could you please call the roll, please?
Mr. Hildebrandt? Here. Ms. Perkins?
Here.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Here.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Here. We're going to go off agenda here. As many of you know, there was some horrific incidences up at Michigan State, which directly affected the city of Clawson and actually my family. And Greg would like to say a few words.
Thank you. Clawson is a very tight-knit community. Those of us, which myself and Chairwoman Smith both have children in the school district and up at Michigan State, know each other's children very well as we have watched them grow up together. Most of the kids in the school district have gone to school with each other from preschool through graduation of high school. Our wonderful caring community has experienced a great loss from these horrific and senseless events at Michigan State University on Monday evening. We lost one of our own, Alexandra Werner, or Alex, or Al as her family and friends refer to her. As a parent of a student at Michigan State, I have never felt more scared and helpless for my children and the children of our community that attend Michigan State. Our lives, the lives of our children, and Alex's family have changed forever. I want to acknowledge and thank our Clawson School District staff and administration team for their tireless support, support of our children and the community. It is not in your job description to wrap our children and the community up in your arms and be the light for us all in a world of grief and sadness, a symbol of safety in a time when the world seems unsafe. You are literally the rock that is holding our community together right now. I would especially like to thank our superintendent, Billy Schellenbarger, for taking the lead for so many in this community who are down and grieving with loss. It's not easy, but you have stepped up and answered the call. Thank you for your courage and strength. Alex, as our esteemed superintendent so appropriately described, was a true representation of what the little city with a big heart should hope for as a representation of our community. A tremendous athlete, a genuinely great young woman. She consistently modeled high character, integrity, and kindness. We grieve for Alex and the whole Werner family, her father Ted, her mother Nancy, her brother TJ, and sister Charlotte. Please know that you are all in our hearts and prayers. I would like to observe 24 seconds of silence to match the number on Al's jersey in honor of her and her entire family. Thank you. Oh, sorry. If I could stop it, it'd be great.
Thank you, Greg. Times like this, I'm thankful to live in Clawson, such a great city.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the agenda. Can I have an approval of the agenda? Is that?
Yeah, if there's no changes necessary, you guys can just approve it as is
Okay.
with no vote necessary.
No vote necessary?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there any additions to the agenda?
I'm fine too.
Nope, everything looks good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the last meeting we had was November 17th of 2022, and the minutes were passed around. Everybody had a chance to read those? And If so, are there any revisions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as listed.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
No.
Okay. Nick, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes,
Mr. Hildebrandt?
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Nick, for the public discussion and items not on the agenda, should we move that down to below the applicant?
You could open up public discussion during that agenda item too. I think we just have to have public discussion on the agenda at some point for the public. So I think both are an option.
Okay. Okay, how about if we move it, let's do the applicant first.
Okay.
If you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a public hearing. There's a request for a front yard setback variance at 301 West Tacoma. Is there somebody here to speak about that?
Yes.
So as you approach the microphone, if you could just state your name and your address.
Okay. My name is Maurice Huffnagel. I live at 301 West Tacoma here in Clawson. And
Okay.
I'm here to give our side to about what we'd like to have done with our house. Right now, we have a small ranch, a little over 1,000 square foot, with a very small dining area in our kitchen. And when we have people coming over to eat, we usually set something up in the basement. Well, we're getting older, and our friends are getting older, and they have hip replacements and knee replacements, and going up and down the stairs is not, ideal anymore. So we wanted to kick out the front of the kitchen to put a dining room in. And we, living in our area, our neighborhood, we see that most of the other homes are further out. I didn't really think it'd be much of a variance to just put ours out, but then it came back that it was a variance. So I'm here to have you guys approve our variance so we could have a dining room for our get-togethers, and I don't believe that it will really affect the look of the neighborhood any.
Okay.
So,
Are there any questions for the applicant?
No.
Just out of curiosity, how long? Sorry, just out of curiosity, how long have you lived there?
8 years now.
Okay. And I understand, I believe was it a rental property prior to that?
I guess it was, yes. The owners sold it. It was a rental property. There's, as most people know, rental properties need a little extra care.
Right, and I only asked that because it has looked much better in
Oh,
recent years.
thanks.
So I have noticed that you've done some improvements.
Yeah.
So yay.
Greg, do you have any questions for the applicant at all?
No, I did, actually, yes, I do. I did read something in the request, and I was going through it, and I was looking at the picture here, where it was mentioned that a lot of the houses on your street in the neighborhood already have these, I guess what I would say, built-out fronts of their homes.
Correct.
Is that correct? Where
Yes.
it's not like this is the only one on your street that's gonna be this way, is that
Right,
correct?
as a matter of fact, both neighbors on both sides of us are about 5 to 6 feet further out than we are.
I can see that in the picture here, so yeah, okay.
And I did talk to both our neighbors, and they had no objections to it.
Actually, if you stand on the corner of the street, which I did this morning, you can't even see his house because it's set so far back. There's only one other one that's similar to yours in style, and it also sets back, and you can barely see that one either. So they really all are in a line. And they don't all necessarily have bump outs, but some are actually just placed a little bit farther within the allotted space. So I don't think it would be any, it would look within the order of the rest
How
of the
many feet,
neighborhood.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
excuse me.
no, you're fine.
Sure.
How many feet currently, right now, as your house sits, is it from the front line of the property?
Isn't it
Roughly, do you have any
exactly
idea?
25 feet? Our builders here.
25 feet.
Roughly,
Yeah.
is that what we're
Roughly,
talking?
yeah, I
And
think-
we would be making it 20
I
feet?
think
You're
it said
talking about-
25 and a half feet here, so it would be roughly 20 foot.
Okay. And we are talking a 5-foot bump out, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
5.5 foot bump out.
Perfect.
And right now, our porch does go out that far, but we would not be extending the porch. The porch would be kind of like off a nook of the corner of the extension. So that wouldn't go out further.
So I have a question. In the report that the city's planner gives us a report on that, on the variance request. And in the report, it mentioned that your side yard setbacks are already non-conforming. So he asked that we just confirm that those
There
aren't
will
going to be made worse.
No, there will not be anything going the other way, just forward.
Just forward?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Are there
All right.
any other questions for the applicant?
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to hear from our planner? Okay.
Yes, please.
Great. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Andy, covering for Joe Tangari, who's our usual planning consultant for Giffords Webster. The request is a pretty straightforward request, the stuff that you see on a lot of residential lots that have varying front setback sizes. So really as Chair Smith mentioned, one of the biggest concerns staff had looking at it was just to confirm that the side nonconformity was not going to intensify, for lack of a better word, making sure that side setback doesn't get closer to the side than it already is. So it didn't look like that was the case, but just something that we recommended, you confirm with the applicant. So, other than that, generally it looks like this is probably a type of setback that, a good handful of properties on the block already get to enjoy. So it's just kind of, a request where the applicant is looking to do what their neighbors are doing in terms of kind of getting closer to that 20-foot mark. That's pretty much it. It looks like the expansion complies with other dimensional stuff, dimensional requirements such as like the impervious lot coverage and the total building lot coverage standards and all of those. So, Joe and I were not too nervous about anything else other than that, confirming that the nonconformity wasn't intensifying. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
The front facade, does that have a height requirement? Is it going to go beyond the roof line, or is it?
It
It
looked
looked
like-
like the drawing was just like a
Yeah,
triangle.
it looked like it. I didn't see, honestly, I think,
And is there any
honestly, I
problem with what they're doing?
can
Or what-
check the height requirement. So the height requirement is 2 stories or 25-foot max. and
So it looks
doesn't
like they're
look
just matching the roof line?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
It looks nice.
It does. It does.
Has the city heard from any of the neighbors?
No.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, Greg?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the variance as requested for,
Excuse me, I think we need to open a public hearing before.
apologies.
No, it's okay.
Okay, it is 7:44, and I'm going to open up a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to this item on our agenda? Okay. All right. There was no one wishing to speak, so I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:45.
Again, Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the variance as requested for a front setback of 20 feet, giving the 5% variance from the 25 feet minimum, the 5 foot from the 25-foot minimum setback requirement of Section 3.1B.4 to permit an addition to the front of the house. Again, creating a setback of 20 feet in the front, not changing the side setbacks currently at 9 foot 10 inches. The practical difficulties are exceptional and peculiar to the property of the person requesting the variance and the results from the conditions which do not generally exist throughout the city. The practical difficulties that would result from a failure to grant the variance include substantially more than the mere inconvenience or inability to attain a higher financial return. Allowing the non-use dimensional variance will result in substantial justice being done, considering the public benefits intended to secured by this article, the individual hardships that will be suffered by failure of the board not to grant the variance, by a failure of the board to grant the variance, and the rights of others whose property would be affected by the allowance of the variance. The variance did not arise from the actions of the applicant or previous landowner, and the variance requested has not basically been solely on financial need or circumstances.
I second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Nick, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrandt?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Congratulations
Yes,
on
thank
your new
you.
addition.
Thank you.
Many dinners to be enjoyed.
Okay, the next, we're going to go back to the next item on the agenda, public discussion, items not on the agenda. Is there anybody wishing to speak about anything else not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will move on. The next item on the agenda is the election of officers. So correct me if I'm wrong, but we just elect a chair and a vice chair?
Yes, and secretary probably as well. Is there a secretary as part of the roles?
Yes, so
Okay.
we do have 3. So chair, vice chair, and secretary.
Who was the secretary last time?
I don't think we've ever had
I don't
one.
think we've ever.
You know, I'm looking back on previous minutes, and it looks like either last year or the year before, it was postponed due to clarity, and I don't know if that was ever clarified due to lack of.
I don't think
Meetings.
it was. I remember it was during Zoom time, and I remember discussing it like on a Zoom meeting.
That's correct. I found those exact minutes, actually, so, that's correct. So we could just do chair and vice chair, and if we need to have secretary, we can do it at the next meeting. But I believe chair and vice chair is sufficient.
Okay, all right. So, as you know, I'm the chair. I'm more than happy to give it up if somebody wants to do it, or I'm more than happy to continue.
Would love for you to continue.
Madam Chair, I'd like to propose a motion that you continue as the chairwoman of this board. You've been doing a wonderful job,
Thank you, Greg.
and I don't see any reason why that should change.
I concur.
I concur as well.
Okay.
You just
do we do-
elected a
I-
We
chair.
have a motion and a second.
Second, yes. All right. Mr. Hildebrandt?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes.
All right.
So our vice chair is Cindy Smith. Cindy, are you still interested in serving, or
I
would you
will,
like
and
to-
I'm willing to step down if another would like to take it.
I would like to ask that you continue in your role, propose that you continue in your role as vice chair, as you have done an exemplary job.
Oh, thank you.
I will second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to elect Cindy as the vice chair.
Yay.
Nick, can you call the roll?
All right. Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrandt?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so other business? Does the board have any other business, or Nick?
Nothing under other business.
Okay.
Madam Chair, maybe a call out again for, do we need one alternate and one additional person, Nick? I believe?
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that in staff
Okay,
report.
super.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have a question for other business. Whatever happened with our November applicant? Is that still pending?
Then that was the
Taco Bell,
Taco Bell.
the Taco Bell sign?
No, the Mr. Pareto where he wanted his.
Yeah,
We approved that, right?
That was approved, and you guys also approved it with a 3-month extension.
Oh, yes, I
due to
remember.
the,
Yes, that was in the.
weather and the contractor. So I figured next meeting I'll have an update for you guys on that. I'll touch base with him as we're nearing the end of winter. So
Okay.
Okay. But Taco Bell never came back.
No.
I think they were waiting for the sign ordinance to be finalized.
as far as I know, yes, and the second reading is next Tuesday for the city council. So after that, I believe it's 10 days is when it becomes official.
Okay.
So I think there's a couple applicants like that. I don't know if you'll see them in the ZBA, but that we do have a couple of sign applications pending due to that ordinance. So
Okay. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the planner's report.
So I, being brand new here in Clawson, I do not have any new, shocker, I don't have any new information to give you. But I understand, I think I will be either serving as a backup to Joe for ZBA meetings or maybe even permanent ZBA. So I think we're still kind of trying to hash out those roles. But there's a meeting conflict tonight, and I think some Thursday nights for Joe. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
Thank
welcome
you.
aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is the staff report and training opportunities. I assume this is you, Nick?
yes, so to start the year, I took over in the building department as the director of community and economic development. So I will be the primary contact for you guys in the city going forward, working with Joe and Andy, of course, from Giffords Webster. We will likely have a meeting in March. So March 16th, definitely pencil it in. I know it's scheduled, but you know how your guys' cases come and go. But we're potentially going to have 1 or 2 items on the agenda for next month. I did intend to get you guys some potential training opportunities for tonight, and I just did not get to it. So you guys will see an email from me at some point tomorrow with some opportunities through the Michigan Association of Planning, and then also the MSU Citizen Planner course, if any of you are interested. I know a couple of you have been on the board for a while, pretty comfortable, but if you want some refresher, I think that would be a great opportunity for all of you, and I am available for any questions.
Are those in-person or virtual trainings?
The Citizen Planner course is virtual, kind of at your own pace, and then the Michigan Association of Planning have some virtual, some in-person. I think they're starting to get back into some in-person trainings, but they definitely are encouraging online as well.
Okay. Okay. Any questions?
No.
No?
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is a legal update.
Got nothing.
Got nothing. Okay, moving on. We are just skating right through this. So anyway, is there any other business before the ZBA for tonight?
We do not have anything on our end.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairwoman, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
I will second it.
All right. Got a motion and second?
All right. Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, usually in Clawson they're not that easy, so hopefully you can stay that consistent.
What is it? Lots of NIMBYs on weird stuff?
Well, ZBA's not that bad, but city council and planning commission are all over the place.